I didn't stumble upon $188 million 0 cents. I claimed it. I didn't win it. I remembered it. I saw it in my mind and I felt it in my bones long before a dollar ever touched my hand. On day one, I went into the silence, not the outer silence of the world, but the inner stillness where creation begins. I asked myself not, how will I get it, but how would I feel if it were already mine? And I lingered there. I dwelled in the state not of wanting, but of having. I saw the number $188 million 0 cents, not on a screen, not in a dream, but as a living truth already mine. I looked at my bank app in imagination and smiled. I watched myself opening champagne with calm certainty. I felt the peace that only ownership brings. I wore that feeling like a coat. I refused to discuss reality with the world. I didn't entertain doubt. I didn't search for signs. The only sign I needed was the one within, the knowing that it was already done. The moment I imagined it with feeling, it was done. The outer world just hadn't caught up yet. On day two, I lived as the man who already had it, not outwardly, but inwardly. I walked differently. I breathed differently. I thanked life in advance, not as a tactic, but as a truth. I wasn't convincing God or fate, I was convincing myself. Day three brought temptation, a whisper, this is ridiculous. I ignored it. The old self always resists when the new self is being born. But I persisted. I returned to the state. I slept that night as the wealthiest version of me. By day four, something shifted. A phone call, an email, an opportunity, seemingly random, but it wasn't. It was part of the bridge. The law was moving, it had no choice. I had impressed the image so deeply upon my consciousness that it had to unfold. And on day five it came. In a way I never expected, not through the means I imagined. But it didn't matter, because I didn't manifest the how, I manifested the what. I didn't script the path, I only embodied the destination. Let this be your reminder. What you feel to be true within is law, the outer must reflect it. I didn't hope, I didn't beg, I assumed. And the universe complied not because I'm special, but because I dared to believe it before I could see it. $188 million 0 cents, 5 days, not a miracle, just a law fulfilled. You don't need time, you need certainty. And that certainty lives in imagination. You do not wait for evidence, you do not wait for signs. You do not sit idly, hoping that life will somehow grant your wish. The secret is this: you must assume that what you desire is already done, already yours, already a part of your reality, not in the future, not someday, but now, fully, finally, completely now. Imagination is not a place where you go to escape reality. It is where you go to create it. You must dwell in the end, feel the result, live from the wish fulfilled. This is not daydreaming, this is not hoping, this is conscious creation. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you change the entire pattern of your being. You become aligned with the reality you seek. This assumption is not based on what your 5 senses tell you. It is not based on logic, proof, or physical evidence. It is based on inner knowing. The world outside may still look the same, but you are no longer the same within. You have entered a new state of consciousness, and your world must eventually conform to it. All things are created from within. The outer world is a mirror of your inner world. If you continue to dwell in lack, the mirror will reflect lack. If you dwell in doubt, it will reflect uncertainty. But the moment you assume that you already are what you desire to be, that moment is the beginning of the transformation. You shift timelines, not by effort, but by assumption. Assuming it is already done does not mean pretending. It means entering the feeling with such conviction that it becomes more real to you than anything you see with your eyes. You speak differently, you think differently, you walk differently, not because you're faking it, but because something inside you has changed. You are no longer reaching, you are remembering. People often wait for proof before they believe, but the truth is, belief brings the proof. You do not manifest by reacting to the world. You manifest by impressing your inner world upon it. The law does not respond to effort, it responds to the dominant feeling you carry in consciousness. It responds to the energy of conviction. Let go of needing to figure out how. Let go of timelines and strategies. You are not responsible for the unfolding. You are responsible for the inner claim. And when that claim is made, truly made, the outer world begins to shift in unseen ways. Doors open, people show up, circumstances arrange themselves, but it all begins with a quiet assumption. It is already done. This is the unseen power most never tap into. They continue to beg, plead, strive, and chase, not realizing they're pushing their desire away. Because what you chase, you confess you do not yet have. But when you assume it is already done, you enter the vibration of possession, and the world mirrors it back. Creation is finished. All possibilities already exist. You are not asking life to create something new. You are selecting what has already been made. The key is assumption. What you assume to be true becomes true. Not because the world changes, but because your state of being does. And from that new state, the world can only reflect back what you are. So the secret is not waiting, the secret is assuming. Imagination is not a fleeting thought or a harmless daydream. It is the very birthplace of your reality. Everything you see around you, every circumstance, every relationship, every dollar in your bank account, began as an unseen thought, a feeling, an inner image. The world you move through is not happening to you, it is responding to you. Your outer world is a direct reflection of the images you hold within. What you imagine, what you believe, and what you consistently feel, that is what shapes the life you live. Most people live backward. They try to change the outside without first changing the inside. They struggle, they push, they chase results in the physical world, all while ignoring the power within them. But the truth is, nothing changes out there until something changes in here. The moment you see something different in your imagination and accept it as real, is the moment you begin to move into a different reality. You do not manifest what you want, you manifest who you are. And who you are is shaped by the dominant images you carry inside. Your imagination is the tool, the seed, the blueprint. It is not just a mental activity, it is spiritual creation. The invisible acts of imagination set the stage for the visible facts of your life. When you imagine something clearly and with feeling, you create an energetic pattern. That pattern begins to attract conditions, people, and opportunities that match it. This is not fantasy, this is law. The world bends itself around the one who sees clearly within. The one who walks in the unseen with conviction will eventually see the evidence unfold around them. Your current reality is not permanent. It is simply the outpicturing of past thoughts and beliefs. If you do not like what you see, you do not need to fight it or resist it. You only need to change the vision within. Imagination is the workshop of the soul. It is the place where you rehearse and design your future. And what you persist in imagining with faith will harden into fact. The key is not to use imagination once and then doubt it the next moment. You must return to it again and again until it becomes more real to you than your present situation. You must live in the feeling of your desired outcome now, not when it shows up, but before. The world cannot resist a mind that is loyal to its vision. You are not limited by your surroundings. You are limited only by the boundaries of your imagination. And the more you dare to imagine greatly, the more life will rise to meet your vision. Stop looking for proof. Start providing it with the images you hold and the feelings you dwell in. What you imagine with feeling is your prayer to life. So understand this deeply. Your imagination is not just a personal tool. It is your creative power. Use it consciously. Live in it deliberately. Do not underestimate the visions that arise within you. They are not fantasy. They are prophecy. They are the seeds of tomorrow's reality. Nurture them. Believe in them. And you will see that the world has no choice but to reflect what you first saw within. Persistence in the assumption is the difference between a fleeting wish and a manifested reality. It's not enough to merely imagine something once and hope it will come to pass. The mind, left to wander, will quickly return to its old patterns of fear, doubt, and limitation. That is why the assumption, the inner claim, that what you desire is already yours, must be repeated, nurtured, and strengthened through deliberate attention. Assuming something means you accept it as already true, regardless of evidence. But persistence means you hold that assumption firmly, even when the world tells you otherwise. It is easy to assume wealth in the silence of meditation, but can you hold that assumption when the bills arrive? It is simple to feel love in imagination, but can you remain in that feeling when someone pulls away in the physical? This is where most people falter. They assume for a moment, and then react to appearances, forgetting that appearances are old news, echoes of previous assumptions. You must persist until the assumption becomes your new natural state. That means returning to it again and again, when you wake, when you walk, when you fall asleep. You bring the feeling of the fulfilled desire into everything you do. You treat the assumption not as a fantasy, but as a fact. And eventually, your subconscious accepts it. Once it does, the outer world must comply. Persistence is not effort in the physical world. It is discipline in the unseen world. You don't have to force things to happen. You simply must not waver in your belief that they already have. When doubt rises, you return to the assumption. When fear whispers, you go back to the feeling. You do not argue with the doubt, you ignore it. You don't beg for the outcome, you assume it has already arrived. This practice reshapes your identity. You begin to embody the person who already has what they desire. And when identity changes, reality follows. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. And what you are is determined by what you consistently assume to be true. There is no power in assuming something for 5 minutes and then canceling it with hours of worry. But when you persist in the assumption, even gently, even quietly, you plant a seed that must grow. Life does not ignore the one who refuses to doubt. The world has no choice but to rearrange itself around a mind that knows what it wants and refuses to let go of that knowing. This is not about forcing a feeling. It is about relaxing into it and returning to it as often as needed. You may not feel the conviction right away, but with repetition, the feeling deepens. The more you assume, the more you believe. The more you believe, the more naturally you begin to act, speak, and think from that new reality. Persistence in the assumption is the inner declaration that says, "This is already mine," even when the world shows the opposite. And if you hold to that inner declaration long enough, reality bends to meet it. Not through strain, not through struggle, but through unwavering certainty. The assumption becomes fact, not because you forced it, but because you refused to abandon it. I didn't chase, and that changed everything. The moment I stopped running after the thing I desired was the moment it began to move toward me. There is a silent power in resting, not in laziness, not in apathy, but in the confident knowing that what you desire is already done. That's what most people miss. They confuse hustle with alignment, motion with progress, but action without belief is empty. It's noise without direction. It exhausts you without delivering results. I didn't beg for money. I didn't plead for change. I didn't run around trying to force things into place. Instead, I entered the feeling that the money was already mine. I touched it in imagination. I spent it in my mind. I felt the lightness of financial freedom deep in my body. I carried that feeling into every day, not to make something happen, but because in my inner world it already had. And from that place of inner fulfillment, I rested. The world teaches you to chase, to run harder, to strive and stretch and suffer. It praises overwork and glorifies the struggle. But what if the real power lies in stillness? What if the universe responds not to desperate effort, but to calm conviction? I rested in the knowing, not because I was indifferent, but because I trusted the law. I trusted that once the seed is planted, it grows. Even if you don't see it yet, there's a bridge of incidents that begins to unfold the moment you assume your desire is real. That bridge cannot be forced or predicted. It is invisible at first. You can't plan it on paper, but it's there. And your job is not to build the bridge. Your job is to stay in the state of the wish fulfilled and let life do the rest. So I stopped asking when and how and through whom. I no longer scanned the world for signs of movement. I no longer treated the absence of results as failure. Instead, I leaned deeper into the feeling. I walked through my days knowing something unseen had shifted. I didn't need proof. I had presence. I had peace. And then things began to happen. Small at first, a message here, an opportunity there, a conversation, a chance meeting, all of it seemingly random, but none of it really was. It was the bridge unfolding. And I was calm enough to notice it, aligned enough to walk it, because I wasn't chasing anymore. I was receiving. There is a great truth hidden in this. The one who chases confesses they do not yet have. But the one who rests, who walks as though it is already theirs, brings it into being. I didn't hustle for wealth, I became wealth. I didn't reach for success, I embodied it. And the world responded in kind. That's the power of resting in the knowing. It's not passive, it's creative. It's not lazy, it's magnetic. When you live from the end, you let go of striving and step into allowing. And in that allowing, life brings you more than you ever could have chased. My words were not casual. They were not random or powerless. They were seeds, each one planted with purpose, expectation, and belief. I learned that what I spoke had the power to shape what I experienced, not someday, not eventually, but now. Because when I change my language, I change my inner vibration. And that shift altered everything around me. I stopped saying I want $188 million, 0 cents. Wanting only emphasizes the absence of the thing. It speaks to a state of lack. It reinforces the idea that what you desire is separate from you, distant and difficult. Instead, I chose to speak from the end, as though it had already happened. It feels amazing to already have it. I am so grateful that $188 million, 0 cents flows to me with ease. I wake up every day with financial freedom. These were not affirmations for the sake of repetition. They were declarations of truth from a place of inner knowing. Words carry vibration, they are creative forces. Every sentence you speak is a statement to the subconscious. And the subconscious does not argue, it accepts what you consistently affirm. So I became extremely intentional with my language. I removed all traces of desperation, doubt, and delay. I replaced them with confidence, peace, and gratitude. I spoke not to convince the world, but to align myself with the state of already having. Every time I opened my mouth, I was planting something. If I said money is hard to come by, I was sowing struggle. If I said I always fall short, I was planting failure. But when I began saying, I am richly provided for, I always receive more than I expect, and wealth comes naturally to me, the soil of my reality started to shift. Those seeds began to take root. At first, it felt strange, like lying, but only because I had been so used to affirming the opposite. I had unconsciously built a world around lack, using my words to describe what I didn't want instead of declaring what was already mine in spirit. But the more I spoke as the wealthy version of myself, the more real it became. Not just in my mind, but in my energy, in my behavior, and eventually in my results. My words shaped my thoughts, and my thoughts shaped my feelings. That feeling state is what magnetized the outcome. Not because I forced it, but because I became it. I didn't use words to manipulate life. I used them to embody truth. Truth that was already present in the unseen. Truth that needed my voice to come alive in form. So I spoke differently, not just in private, but all the time. I didn't complain. I didn't contradict myself. I guarded my mouth like a gate. I honored the law of vibration by aligning my speech with my assumption. And over time, the fruits of those seeds began to show. Unexpected income, surprising opportunities, favor and abundance from directions I couldn't have imagined. What you say about your life becomes your life. Every word is a choice. Every phrase is a door. And the moment you begin to speak from the end, with faith, with joy, with conviction, you set into motion the very reality you desire. Speak it now, speak it often, and watch what grows. The Lord does not respond to calendars, clocks, or deadlines. It is not moved by how long you've waited, how hard you've tried, or how much you've suffered. Time is not the deciding factor, feeling is. The moment you feel your desire is real, as already done, you activate the process. You awaken the unseen forces that begin rearranging your reality to match that inner state. And it doesn't matter whether 5 days have passed or 5 years. The moment of fulfillment is always now. This is the mystery most never grasp. They wait, they count days. They grow frustrated thinking nothing is happening. But the law is not watching the calendar. It is responding to consciousness. And consciousness shifts the instant you decide to feel the truth of what you desire, even in the absence of physical proof. When I manifested $188 million, 0 cents, it wasn't because I put in more hours or followed some perfect strategy. It was because I stopped waiting for evidence and instead felt it now. I didn't just think about the money. I felt the security, the freedom, the power that comes with it. I stepped into the emotional experience of already having it. That feeling, genuine and alive within me, was the signal, and that signal set things in motion. The timeline did not dictate my manifestation. My assumption did. My inner world shifted, and the outer world had no choice but to follow. Reality is fluid, not fixed. It bends and rearranges around the state of being you occupy. When you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even briefly, you cause a ripple in the unseen that starts drawing everything necessary to bring it to life. This is why someone can manifest a fortune in 5 days while another struggles for 5 decades. The difference is not in luck or effort, it's in alignment. The one who aligns with the feeling of already having, even if just for a moment, holds the key. They open the door to instant transformation. Because the law doesn't need time, it needs clarity. It needs conviction. But most people tie their desire to a timeline. They say, when will it come? Or it's taking too long. And in doing so, they delay. Every time you look at the clock or calendar with anxiety, you step out of the state of having and into the state of wanting. Wanting always pushes the desire into the future. But when you drop time completely, when you close your eyes and feel that it's already done, you collapse the distance between desire and fulfillment. So don't ask how long it will take. Don't measure progress by physical signs. Instead, turn inward and ask, how real does it feel to me now? Because that's the only thing that matters. The law doesn't care if it's day 1 or day 1,000. It responds to the dominant emotional state you carry. The moment you feel it real, you plant the seed. And in that moment, reality begins shifting beneath the surface. You may not see it yet, but it's already moving. Time is not your master, you are. And when your feeling matches your desire, the timeline bends to your assumption. What you just heard is not a story of luck, chance, or coincidence. It's a reminder of who you truly are, a creator, not a beggar. I did not manifest $188 million, 0 cents, by wishing or waiting. I did it by shifting my state, assuming it was already mine, and persisting in that inner knowing. I didn't chase. I rested. I didn't doubt. I declared. I didn't hope. I felt it real. And from that unwavering inner conviction, life had no choice but to rearrange. This isn't just about money, it's about power, your power. The moment you accept that the world mirrors your inner state, everything begins to change. You are not at the mercy of time, circumstance, or effort. You are governed by imagination, belief, and feeling. Use them wisely, deliberately, and faithfully. Stop asking when. Start feeling now. Because the law doesn't wait. It responds instantly to who you decide to be. Satan fans, thank you for listening with an open heart and mind. May you walk forward boldly in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, because it is. You are not a beggar in this world. You are not here to wait for permission, nor to hope someone will hand you a portion of what already belongs to you. You are not poor in spirit, unless you choose to be. For the world you see is only responding to the one thing, your inner assumption. To act as if you own everything is not arrogance, it is spiritual truth. It is remembering that the outer world is the echo, not the voice, the shadow, not the substance. What you hold internally with conviction becomes external without question. The moment you claim something within, silently, faithfully, it begins to arrange itself without. You don't need evidence. You need assumption. You don't need proof. You need belief. Ownership begins with imagination, not a transaction. So walk into the room like it's yours. Speak to life like it listens to you, because it does. Act not in response to the world, but from the place where the world is already yours. The world bends to the one who knows what they possess, not the one who waits for approval to receive it. This isn't about pretending. It's about possessing in consciousness what hasn't yet shown up in form. You are not hoping it will come. You are knowing it already has. You are not trying to make it happen. You are aligning with the version of yourself for whom it already did. Everything that is yours is already done in the unseen. The world you experience is catching up to the world you have assumed. Walk with the posture of ownership. Think with the clarity of someone who knows. Speak with the authority of one who rules their reality. You are not acting to impress others. You are acting in alignment with who you truly are. The power is within. It always has been. Life will not give you what you chase. It gives you what you claim. You are not a beggar in this world. You are not here to wait for permission, nor to hope someone will hand you a portion of what already belongs to you. You are not poor in spirit unless you choose to be. For the world you see is only responding to the one thing, your inner assumption. To act as if you own everything is not arrogance. It is spiritual truth. It is remembering that the outer world is the echo, not the voice. The shadow, not the substance. What you hold internally with conviction becomes external without question. The moment you claim something within, silently, faithfully, it begins to arrange itself without. You don't need evidence, you need assumption. You don't need proof, you need belief. Ownership begins with imagination, not a transaction. So walk into the room like it's yours. Speak to life like it listens to you, because it does. Act not in response to the world, but from the place where the world is already yours. The world bends to the one who knows what they possess, not the one who waits for approval to receive it. This isn't about pretending. It's about possessing in consciousness what hasn't yet shown up in form. You are not hoping it will come. You are knowing it already has. You are not trying to make it happen. You are aligning with the version of yourself for whom it already did. Everything that is yours is already done in the unseen. The world you experience is catching up to the world you have assumed. Walk with the posture of ownership. Think with the clarity of someone who knows. Speak with the authority of one who rules their reality. You are not acting to impress others. You are acting in alignment with who you truly are. The power is within, it always has been. Life will not give you what you chase. It gives you what you claim. What you are aware of being, you become. This is not just a poetic idea, it is the very foundation of reality. All things begin in the unseen, and that unseen is your own consciousness. You cannot possess anything in the physical world unless you first claim it within. Ownership is not a result of action, it is a result of assumption. Before anything becomes yours externally, it must be owned mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That is the law of life. Look around you. Everything you now have, every situation you are currently experiencing, is the outpicturing of what you have accepted as true within yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously you have consented to it. This is not to place blame, but to awaken you to your own power. You do not need to wait for the world to confirm your desires before you believe in them. That is living backward. You must become the one who sees the invisible and lives as though it were visible. You can only receive at the level of your awareness. If you are aware of being broke, unwanted, small, or unworthy, then you will meet a world that agrees with you, not because it is true, but because you made it true through your sustained focus. If, however, you become aware of being abundant, loved, powerful, and worthy, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself and reflect that back to you. You see, life is not happening to you, it is happening through you, and your consciousness is the architect of that unfolding. There is no ownership without first an inner claim. A person may receive money, recognition, or opportunities, but if they have not assumed the state of being prosperous, they will lose it, sabotage it, or remain in fear of it vanishing. Why? Because they never truly owned it in consciousness. They held it in their hands, but not in their mind. Because one mastered the outer, and the other mastered the inner. To own something in consciousness is to feel that it is already yours, to move and speak and live from that knowing. It is to sit in the stillness of your being and see yourself already in possession of the desire. It is not daydreaming, it is identification. You are not watching a version of you who has it, you are becoming that version. The moment you become it, it must become you. Many will say, I will feel successful when I see the money, or I will believe in love when I meet the right person. But this is illusion. You will see the money because you felt successful. You will meet the love because you first knew yourself as lovable. The outer is the servant, the inner is the master. And the master commands not with force, but with quiet conviction. Ownership is not loud. It doesn't beg or plead. It doesn't ask if it's worthy. Ownership assumes. It walks into the room with quiet confidence and rests in knowing. There is no desperation in it, no rush. Because the one who owns something does not doubt. The one who owns something does not wait for it to appear. They live from the end where it already has. Everything begins in the mind. Every door opens from within. You are not here to chase reality. You are here to create it, and your tool is awareness. Your weapon is imagination. Your superpower is assumption. Own what you seek now, in thought, in feeling, in energy, and the world will obey, because it must. Because consciousness is ownership. You are the operant power. Not the world, not the people around you, not chance, fate, or luck. Nothing outside of you determines your experience unless you allow it. The true creative force of your life does not lie in effort or struggle. It lies in imagination. Nothing moves unless you imagine it first. All transformation begins in the unseen, and that unseen is you. Life is not happening randomly. It is not a sequence of disconnected events. It is not a force that chooses who to favor and who to ignore. It is exact, precise, and deeply personal. It responds directly to your inner state, your assumptions, your self-concept. The way you see yourself, what you believe about who you are and what is possible for you, becomes the lens through which life expresses itself. You are the cause. The world is your effect. Most people walk through life reacting. They see, then they believe. They hear something negative and they assume it must be true. They look at their bank account, their relationships, their circumstances, and they decide what is real based on appearances. But the truth is the opposite. You must believe. Then you will see. The seen is the result of the unseen. When you imagine something with feeling, with faith, and with consistency, it begins to shape your world. You might not see it immediately, but the seed has been planted. The movement has begun. Nothing needs to shift outside of you before you assume what is already yours. And the assumption does not ask permission. It doesn't consult logic or the opinions of others. It simply declares, "This is who I am now." To say you are the operant power is to accept total responsibility, not blame, but responsibility. It means you stop waiting for change and start embodying it. It means you stop hoping and start knowing. You do not wait for evidence, you become the evidence. You do not look for signs, you live as the sign. This is not about forcing outcomes. It's not about controlling others. It's about becoming aligned internally with a version of yourself that already has what you seek. If you want love, assume you are already loved. If you want success, assume you are already successful. Not one day, not when the time is right, but now. Because time is just the delay between assumption and manifestation. You get to close that gap by entering the state now. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter what the world has told you. What matters is what you are imagining now. If you keep imagining lack, you'll keep living it. If you keep imagining struggle, it will persist. But the moment you dare to imagine something new and accept it as already true, you shift the entire course of your life. This is why it's not enough to simply desire. Desire without assumption is hollow. It is fantasy without creation. The power lies in assuming that what you want is already done. And you hold that assumption not with desperation, but with calm confidence. Because you are not creating from lack, you are creating from truth. The world around you will catch up. It always does. But don't wait for it to move first. You must move first. You must imagine, feel, and know first. That's what being the operant power means. You are not reacting to the world, you are commanding it from within. The mirror cannot smile until you do. The reflection does not change until you change. So assume wisely, imagine boldly, and above all, remember this. The power has always been yours, not outside you, not in things, but in your own beautiful, limitless creative mind. Nothing moves until you do. So move in imagination, and the world will follow. To act from the end is to live in the consciousness of your desire already being fulfilled. It is to rise in the morning not as someone who hopes for change, but as someone who knows change has already occurred. The difference is subtle, but it is everything. One lives from lack, the other lives from fulfillment. One waits for proof, the other becomes the proof. When you act from the end, you're no longer trying to make something happen. You are aligning yourself with the reality where it already has. This is the key most overlooked. They pray for what they want, speak of what they want, think about what they want, but all from the standpoint of not having it. The energy of wanting is lack. And lack cannot produce fulfillment. You cannot attract what you are separate from. You must become one with it in your imagination. You must enter into the state of the wish fulfilled and live from that inner truth as though the outer has no choice but to follow, because it doesn't. The law is certain. When you persist in a state, the world conforms. But you must persist. You cannot dip in and out of belief based on what the senses report. The senses are delayed reflections of your old assumptions. When you act from the end, you understand that your job is not to fix the mirror. It's to change the face you show to it. So what does it mean to act from the end? It means you speak, walk, think, and feel from the version of you who already has what they desire. If you are manifesting love, you carry yourself as someone deeply loved and cherished. If you are manifesting success, you speak with the authority and clarity of someone who has already achieved it. You don't wait for the world to convince you. You convince yourself and allow the world to catch up. There is no begging in this process. There is no hoping. There is only knowing. You do not need to know how it will come. You do not need to manipulate circumstances or force movement. Your task is simple. Assume the state and remain faithful to it. The bridge of incidents will unfold to bring you to that which you have already claimed within. You may be tempted to check the physical world for signs, but signs follow, they do not lead. You are the cause. What you do in imagination is more powerful than what you do in the world. So dwell in the end. Don't visit it like a guest. Live there like it's your home. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the peace of knowing it's already yours. Let that feeling be your compass, your guide, your secret inner world. Every time doubt arises, return to the end. Remind yourself that reality bends to conviction. The moment you fully accept your desire as fact in the unseen, the seen must obey. So stop striving, stop waiting, stop negotiating with life. Choose your end and live from it. Think from it. Feel from it. Rest in it. The power is not in effort. It is in assumption. An assumption fulfilled is faith in action. When you act from the end, life has no choice but to reflect your inner truth. And it always will. Your world is not fixed. It is not bound by logic or the rules you were taught. It is fluid, responsive, and deeply personal. It does not reflect your effort, it reflects your belief. What you see is not the truth. It is the echo of what you have accepted within. That is why you must detach from the visible and trust the invisible. Because the visible is only the past made manifest, while the invisible is the present power shaping your tomorrow. Most people become prisoners of their senses. They judge their progress by what they see. They let circumstances dictate their mood. They watch, wait, and worry. searching for proof that things are changing, searching for signs that their desire is near. But in doing so, they forget the truth. The outer world is always late. It cannot show you what you haven't first accepted as real in the unseen. To live by sight is to live as a victim of what was. To live by inner knowing is to walk as the creator of what will be. The invisible is where all things begin. Your imagination is the soil and belief is the seed. Whatever you nurture in that inner world, whether it be abundance, love, peace, or purpose, will eventually bloom in the visible. But only if you stop digging it up to see if it's growing. Only if you trust that the unseen is more real than what you can touch with your hands or measure with your eyes. Detachment is not indifference. It is not pretending that you don't care. It is the quiet confidence of one who knows the outcome is already secure. It is the stillness of mind that no longer chases or begs or pleads, but simply assumes and allows. You do not detach from your desire, you detach from the need to see it in order to believe it. You must stop trying to force the mirror to smile. You must smile first. The world is not against you. It is only reflecting you. And belief is the blueprint. So when you dwell in a state of knowing, when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and rest in that inner truth, the world begins to rearrange itself without your effort. Not because you worked harder, but because you are lying deeper. This is why effort without belief leads to frustration. You may toil, push, and exhaust yourself, but if inwardly you are still doubting, still fearing, still wondering if it's possible, then the mirror cannot reflect your efforts. It can only reflect your state. On the other hand, a quiet, unwavering assumption can move mountains while you do nothing but trust. This is not laziness. It is mastery. The invisible is not imaginary. It is the foundation of reality. Every breakthrough, every manifestation, every shift you've ever had began with a subtle, quiet inner change. A new self-concept, a new assumption, a new feeling accepted as truth. And once you made that shift, the world moved, the path appeared, the people showed up, the door opened. And it wasn't because you forced it. It was because you believed it into being. So let the world be what it is for now. Let it reflect what it must, but don't get caught up in appearances. Don't let the noise distract you. Turn inward. Close the gap between who you are and who you desire to be by assuming they are one and the same. Walk through the day not as one waiting, but as one who has already received. And when doubt whispers, return to the invisible. Return to the state. Feel it, live in it, trust it, for the world is only the mirror, and mirrors do not lie, they simply reflect. When the inner man changes, the outer world has no choice, it must obey. So detach from the visible, trust the invisible, and watch as belief, not effort, transforms everything. There is a vast difference between seeking and commanding. One flows from lack, the other from power. The one who seeks is pleading, chasing, looking outward for something they feel is missing. But the one who commands is resting in the knowledge that what they desire is already theirs. They are not asking life to give, they are telling life what is already true in their inner world. When you seek, you confirm that you do not yet possess. You say to the universe, I want this. And that very statement echoes your belief that you are separate from it. Seeking comes with desperation. It comes with the energy of not enough. You may dress it in spiritual words or hard work, but underneath it all is the same vibration. I don't have this, and I hope something outside of me can deliver it. But nothing outside of you can give you what you are unwilling to assume within. Life is not responding to your words, it's responding to your state. And the state of a seeker is not one of ownership, it is one of delay. The seeker waits, the seeker hopes, the seeker watches others receive and wonders why it hasn't happened yet. But the one who commands does not wait, they declare. To command is to assume full authority over your experience, not by force, not by arrogance, but by alignment. You are not begging the world to change, you are entering the state of already having what you desire and speaking from it. You are not trying to convince anyone or prove anything. You are simply living in the knowing that what you imagined is already done. This inner shift is everything, because what you accept as true inwardly must be reflected outwardly. If you feel the need to seek, ask yourself what you truly believe about your desire. Do you believe it is far away? Do you believe it is difficult? Do you believe it is for others but not for you? The one who commands doesn't entertain these doubts. They don't concern themselves with how or when. They know those questions are distractions. To command is to operate from the end. It is to declare this is mine before the world gives you any evidence. It is to assume the identity of the one who already is, who already has, who already knows. This is not fantasy. This is faith. And faith does not seek confirmation. It creates it. You don't ask the mirror to show you a different face. You change your expression and the mirror responds. In the same way, when you command a new reality from within, the world has no choice but to mirror it back. But you must hold your command with conviction. You cannot whisper it with doubt and expect it to roar with results. This is why silence is powerful. The one who truly commands often speaks little, because they do not need to explain or justify. They are not swayed by appearances or setbacks. Their word is law because it is backed by belief, and belief, when it is fully felt, is irresistible. So stop seeking, stop waiting, stop questioning whether it's possible. Begin to speak with the authority of the one who knows. Enter the state of fulfillment and dwell there. Feel the confidence, the peace, the completion of already having. From that state, let your inner voice say, "It is done," not in hope, but in truth. You are not a beggar in this world. You are not here to chase what is already yours. You are the creator, the author, the cause. And creation answers to command, not loud, not forceful, but sure, calm, and unwavering. When you command, life listens. When you declare, reality responds. There is no need to search for proof. You are the proof. Speak as one who has, think as one who is, and the world will mold itself to your word, because it always does. You were not born to shrink. You were not placed in this world to apologize for your power, your knowing, your ability to command life. Yet so many walk timidly, asking life for permission, waiting for validation, hoping not to offend by simply existing fully. That is not your purpose. You are not here to beg life. You are here to shape it. And it will never be shaped by the one who doubts their own worth. To walk in power is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is remembering who you are beyond the form, beyond the name, beyond the story. It is not about boasting or proving anything to anyone. It is simply moving through life with the quiet certainty that you are the operant power. You are the cause. And you do not need to explain your becoming to anyone. Stop asking for permission to be great. Stop waiting for the world to clap before you allow yourself to rise. The applause may never come, the recognition may never arrive, but none of that is necessary. When you live from your power, you don't need the outside world to agree. You simply declare who you are, and the world adjusts to meet you there. So many dim their light because they are afraid of being misunderstood. They hold back their vision because others won't see it yet. But your power does not need to be seen to be real. It needs to be embodied, fully, boldly, without apology. You don't owe anyone a watered-down version of yourself just to make them comfortable. Your very being is divine, and divinity does not apologize for taking up space. Walk like it, speak like it, live like it, not in ego, but in truth. When you know what you carry within you, you don't pretend to be small. You don't lower your head to fit into places you've outgrown. You don't shrink your dreams to make others feel safe. Power is not loud, it is not forceful, but it is unmistakable. It walks into a room and shifts the atmosphere, not because it tries, but because it simply is. There will be moments when your power threatens others. Let it. That is not your burden to carry. You are not responsible for how others receive your truth. You are only responsible for living it with grace, with depth, with unwavering faith in who you were created to be. Do not let the world convince you to doubt what you know in your soul. Do not trade your authority for approval. Do not quiet your voice to avoid standing out. You were not made to blend in. You were made to awaken, to embody, to command, not from force, but from presence. Your mere presence, when aligned, changes things. People feel it. Situations shift around it, doors open for it, and it all begins the moment you stop apologizing for being powerful. You are not less spiritual because you are confident. You are not wrong for believing in your vision before others can see it. You are not selfish for putting yourself first, for protecting your peace, for deciding that your life is yours to shape. That is wisdom. That is power. And when you truly stand in it, something beautiful happens. Life stops resisting you, it begins to move with you. It bends to your belief, not your struggle. And you realize you never had to beg for anything. You only had to remember who you are. So walk with your shoulders back, speak your desire as law, live as though the world is already yours, because in truth it is. All things are possible to the one who believes. And you were not sent here to live halfway. You were sent to live fully, fearlessly, without apology. Own your power. It was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to lead. You were never meant to chase life. You were meant to command it. Everything you desire, everything you long for is already within you, waiting for your recognition. The moment you shift from seeking to assuming, from hoping to knowing, from apologizing to embodying, life begins to rearrange itself around your inner world. Act as if you own everything, not out of ego, but out of alignment. You are not here to earn your worth, you are here to reveal it. The world is responding to your state of being, not your effort. So walk as though it is done. Speak as though it is yours. Live as though there is nothing to prove, only everything to express. You are the operant power. What you accept as true becomes your world. And once you understand this truth, you no longer ask, chase, or wait. You assume, declare, and receive. Thank you for listening. May you rise in your power, walk in your truth, and never again doubt what has always been yours. If you're seeing this, it means you've already been chosen by a higher law. It means something deep within you has shifted so quietly, so subtly, that the outer world is just beginning to reflect it. Money is not coming because of effort. It's not on its way because of how hard you've worked or how much you planned. It's on its way because of who you've become in consciousness. The moment you saw this, a signal was sent, not to the outside world, but to your inner reality. And that inner world is the only cause of what you see. You are not meant to chase money. You are meant to become the one who has already received it. You may not feel it in your hands yet, but it's already in your field. It's traveling through channels unseen, shaped by your inner conviction and clothed in the energy of your belief. The unseen precedes the seen. The invisible creates the visible. That is the eternal law. Do not ask when, do not ask how, simply know. Money has already been dispatched to you. Like a letter already posted with your name on it, it is finding its way. Your only task is to hold the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Feel now what you would feel if it were already here. And I tell you, that feeling is the bridge to its arrival. You are not here to hope or wish or beg. You are here to create, and creation begins with acceptance, with the assumption that what you desire is already yours. For money to find you, you must stop searching for it and start becoming the one who it naturally flows to. This is your confirmation. If you're seeing this, money is already on its way. Don't disturb the process with doubt. Don't slow it with worry. Walk in the knowing. Breathe as the person who already has it. Act as if it is normal for abundance to find you, because it is. Your thoughts are instructions. Your imagination is the blueprint. Your feeling is the magnet. You've placed the order, and the universe has already confirmed it. There's nothing left to do except to dwell in the reality where it's already done. So now, relax, give thanks, smile with confidence. Because if you're seeing this, money is already on its way to you. What you believe to be true about yourself becomes your experience. This is not a poetic idea, nor is it a hopeful philosophy, it is a law. As you accept something inwardly, as you give it the dignity of truth within your consciousness, the world begins to reflect it faithfully. The outer world is not separate from you, it is the mirror of your inner convictions, your assumptions, your beliefs. Life does not respond to your words or your wishes, but to the core truths you hold about yourself in the silence of your own being. You may think you want wealth, love, peace, or success, but if your self-concept denies it, if your internal image of yourself is poor, undeserving, unworthy, or unseen, you will only attract confirmations of that. No matter how hard you work or how desperately you pray, if the belief behind your actions is one of lack or inferiority, that will shape your results. You cannot receive what you have not accepted as true about yourself. You will never rise above the concept you hold in your imagination of who you are. This is the great secret. The world is not happening to you, it is happening from you. You are the root cause. You are the source. And everything that flows into your life is simply returning to you the belief you have planted and nourished within. There is no trick, no superstition, no magic beyond this. Whatever you claim as true in your imagination, you will experience with your senses, whether in joy or sorrow. Think now the story you have been telling yourself. Do you walk through life as someone who is always behind, always missing out, always struggling? That is not the truth of who you are, but it becomes your reality if you persist in that belief. Have you told yourself that money is hard to come by, that you are invisible in love, that you are too damaged, too late, too far gone? These thoughts do not come from the world, and once believed, they must be played out in your life as experience. Your consciousness is the stage, and whatever you rehearse within it must be performed on the screen of life, no exception. The world is not selective. It does not reward the good and punish the bad. It reflects the belief. Always. That is why two people can live under the same conditions and one thrives while the other suffers. One believes they are chosen, blessed, worthy, and so life says yes. The other believes they are cursed, overlooked, forgotten, and life says yes to that too. Not because the universe has favorites, but because it has laws. To change your life, you must change your belief about yourself. You must dare to believe you are already the person you desire to become. Not someday, now, in this very moment. Even if your senses tell you otherwise, even if your bank account whispers lack, even if your relationships echo rejection. These things are not final. They are echoes of old beliefs. They are remnants of past assumptions. If you want a new experience, you must stop feeding the old story. Begin now to speak to yourself differently. Not with empty affirmations, but with inner conviction. Look in the mirror of your soul and tell yourself what is true. I am wealthy, I am loved, I am powerful. I am whole, not because the world has confirmed it, but because you have. You must believe it before you see it. That is the law, As within, so without. You are never stuck, you are never helpless. You are simply experiencing what you have believed. The moment you change your belief, everything begins to rearrange. Doors open, people shift, opportunities appear, not because they were not there before, but because your eyes were not open to them. The inner shift reveals the outer blessing. It is never about forcing the world to give you what you want. It is always about becoming the one who already has it. When you believe in your own worth, when you walk as the one who is already chosen, already successful, already loved, then life must rise to meet that belief. You are not here to chase reality. You are here to create it. And you create it not by effort or struggle, but by what you claim to be true about yourself. So if you want to change your life, start there, not outside but inside, in the secret place, in the silence. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Rest in the truth of your new identity, for what you believe to be true about yourself, quietly, faithfully, and persistently, will become your experience. Money responds to your inner state, not your effort. This truth may seem offensive to those who have been conditioned to believe that hard work alone is the path to wealth. Society often tells us that effort is everything. Wake up early, grind without rest, sacrifice sleep, and eventually you'll be rewarded. But how many people do you know who work tirelessly with all their strength and time and still find themselves struggling financially? And how many others seem to attract money with ease, with less visible struggle, yet always seem to have more than enough? The difference is not in what they do, it's in how they feel. It's in the inner state from which they act. Your relationship with money is not built by your hands, but by your mind. It is your beliefs, assumptions, and emotional tone about money that dictate how it flows into your life. If, deep down, you believe that money is hard to come by, then no matter how many hours you work or how many projects you start, your reality will confirm that belief. You'll find yourself in situations that mirror your inner struggle. Delays, unexpected expenses, and lack will follow you, not because you aren't trying, but because your inner state is one of scarcity. On the other hand, when a person assumes wealth as natural, as their divine right, as something that flows freely into their life, they carry an energy that attracts money like a magnet. They are not desperate. They are not anxious. Their actions may even appear simple or minimal, but the results are extraordinary. Why? Because the energy behind their actions is aligned with abundance, not lack. The universe does not respond to the action itself. It responds to the state from which the action comes. It's not that effort has no value, but effort without alignment becomes empty. You can run on a treadmill for years and never get anywhere if your thoughts are stuck in limitation. You must understand that money, like all things, responds to vibration. It responds to feeling, it responds to the state of being you embody most consistently. You don't need to chase money. You need to become the version of yourself that money is already trying to reach. When your inner world is saturated with wealth, when you feel prosperous, even if your wallet says otherwise, then you are beginning to shift reality. Money begins to show up in unexpected ways. You find yourself at the right place at the right time. The path opens. Why? Because you changed internally. You began to walk as the person who already receives money. And so life had no choice but to rearrange itself to match that. Effort born from fear, from desperation, from not enough will never lead to lasting abundance. It may produce temporary results, but they will not last. Because the core belief, the inner state, remains rooted in lack. And the law is clear. As within, so without. When you shift from I have to work hard to survive to I am already abundant, and my actions are just expressions of that truth, then you begin to operate from power, not panic. Then effort becomes joyful, not burdensome, inspired, not forced. Money doesn't come because you deserve it more than someone else. It comes because your consciousness is ready to receive it. If your inner self-image is still small, if you still see money as something outside of you, something to be earned with pain and stress, then you are holding it away from you. Money is not your enemy, it's not your master, it is your servant. and it serves the image you hold of yourself. So ask yourself, not what more you can do, but who you are being. Are you being the person who expects wealth, who welcomes it, who feels worthy of it, who believes it comes easily? Or are you being the one who doubts, who worries, who chases, but never quite catches? Your inner state is the soil, money is the fruit. You cannot reap abundance from seeds of scarcity. The most powerful shift you can make is not to increase your hustle, but to upgrade your identity. Walk as the person who already has what you desire. Speak like them, think like them, feel like them, and you will find that money begins to appear, not because of how hard you tried, but because of who you dared to become within. Money responds to your inner state, always. And when your inner world is rich, peaceful, and confident, your outer world cannot help but follow. The feeling of wealth must come before the evidence of it. This is the hidden order of creation that many overlook. We are conditioned to wait for external proof before granting ourselves the internal permission to feel rich, secure, or abundant. But the truth is reversed. It is the inner acceptance, the quiet conviction that you are already wealthy, that precedes and attracts the outward signs of wealth. Life is not waiting to reward your hard work with a paycheck. It is waiting to mirror the truth you dare to hold in your imagination. When you feel poor, even in the presence of money, you will lose it. When you feel rich, even in the absence of money, it will find you. Why? Because the outer world must conform to your inner state. It cannot do otherwise. Your reality is a faithful servant of your consciousness. It is not influenced by the words you speak, but by the assumptions you carry. You can say, "I am wealthy," 1,000 times, but if you feel lack, worry, or fear underneath, that is the message being heard and returned. So what does it mean to feel wealthy before the evidence arrives? It means to step into the emotional state of already having. It means to abandon the waiting, the striving, the searching, and instead to rest in the knowing that it is already yours. Not someday, now, right here in this moment. You carry within you the power to become whatever you assume yourself to be. If you feel rich regardless of your current circumstances, you begin to radiate the signal of abundance, and the world must respond. This is not delusion, it is not fantasy, it is the creative law at work. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. You cannot fool life. You cannot pretend to be rich while secretly holding on to lack in your heart. It will always expose the deeper truth. That is why the inner work is everything. You must purify your inner world until your dominant feeling is one of wholeness, gratitude, and sufficiency. Then, and only then, will the outer world rearrange to reflect it. But this requires discipline. It requires you to reject the evidence of the senses and trust the evidence of your imagination. The senses may show a small bank account, unpaid bills, or lifestyle you wish to escape, but you must not bow to appearances. Appearances are just the shadows of old beliefs. They are not permanent. They are not reality. The only true reality is what you are imagining and feeling now. If you continue to feel poor, worried, or envious of others, you will continue to create more situations that echo those feelings. But if you deliberately cultivate the feeling of "I have more than enough," if you begin to move through the world as if wealth is normal for you, then that feeling becomes a new seed. And seeds, when watered by faith and repetition, must grow into visible form. The key is to practice this feeling in the quiet moments, when no one is watching, when you are not being tested by the world. Imagine walking into a room knowing you can afford anything. Imagine opening your wallet and knowing it is always full. Imagine paying for something without checking your account, because abundance is your nature. Feel that deeply. Live in it, not as a dream, but as a reality already unfolding. Your mind will resist. It will remind you of the facts. It will scream, "But look at the bills, look at the bank statement." But facts change. They are not eternal. Your current situation is just a reflection of past thinking. It has no power unless you give it power. The only thing that is real, the only thing that creates, is the feeling you accept as true now. So take back your power. Stop waiting for the world to give you permission to feel rich. Give it to yourself right now. Wear it like a coat. Let it influence how you walk, how you speak, how you think. The evidence will come, not because you chased it, but because you became the person who always had it. That is the secret of all manifestation. It is not a process of achieving, but of assuming. You become what you believe, and you attract what you feel. The feeling of wealth is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is not fantasy, it is foundation. Build your world on that inner conviction, and life will pour into your hands the visible proof. But the proof comes last. The feeling comes first. Always. You are not waiting for money. Money is responding to your assumption. This is the profound truth hidden in plain sight, overlooked by those who believe life is a matter of chance, effort, or external conditions. The mind, when rightly used, is not a passive observer of the world, it is the cause of it. You are not sitting idly while money moves toward you at its own pace. Rather, money is moving according to the assumptions you hold, whether you are conscious of them or not. Most people believe they are waiting for a breakthrough, for a raise, for a lucky moment, or a door to open. But the truth is that life waits on you, not with arms folded in judgment, but with infinite readiness to reflect back whatever you have accepted as true. When you assume poverty, life becomes a mirror of lack. When you assume abundance, life reorganizes itself to express that abundance. There is no delay but the one you create by clinging to your current self-concept. Assumption is not wishful thinking. It is not daydreaming or empty hope. It is a settled knowing, a quiet, unshakable conviction that what you desire is already yours. You do not beg for it. You do not chase it. You live from it. You walk in the world with the confidence of one who already possesses what they once longed for. And as surely as the sun rises, life conforms to match that inner state. This is why some people with seemingly less effort attract more wealth, while others work tirelessly with little to show for it. The difference lies not in talent or timing, but in assumption. The wealthy do not merely have money, they expect it. They do not worry where the next dollar will come from because they assume it will come. That assumption opens doors, attracts ideas, inspires action, and brings opportunities into their path. You may say, but I need the money now. How can I assume something that isn't here? That is the great paradox. To receive, you must first feel as if you already have. Your imagination is the womb of reality. What you plant there through repeated assumption and emotion must emerge into form. The moment you shift your internal state, your thoughts, your feelings, your belief, everything outside begins to move. You are not at the mercy of economy, education, or environment. You are at the mercy of your own consciousness. If you assume that money is hard to get, you will always be in situations that prove you right. If you assume that money flows to you with ease even when you don't know how, you activate a new current in your life. Money begins to respond not to effort, but to identity. It answers to who you are being on the inside. And so the work is inward. The outer action comes later and naturally. When you change your assumptions about money, when you stop seeing it as something far away, something for other people, something that is limited, you invite it in. Begin by catching your language. How do you speak about money? Do you say, I can't afford that, I never have enough, or money doesn't come easily? Those words are born of assumptions, and those assumptions become your reality. Change your assumption, and your language will follow. Begin to assume you are wealthy, supported, and always provided for. Don't look for evidence, be the evidence. Don't wait for the bank account to change before you change your self-concept. That is living in reaction. Live from cause. Be the one who knows their supply is unlimited. Walk with the feeling of already having received. Close your eyes and imagine the life you would live if money were never again a concern. Feel that life, not later, now. Speak from that life, think from that life, and most importantly, assume that life, not as a maybe, but as a fact, because in the invisible realm of consciousness, it already is. Your only task is to bring that unseen reality into the seen through your assumption. You are not waiting. There is no delay unless you create one by doubting, questioning, or reverting to old beliefs. Money does not delay, it only mirrors. Change what you expect and you change what you experience. Assume wealth not tomorrow but today and watch how quickly life responds. Not because you forced it, but because you finally became the one money was always searching for. Imagination is the only channel through which wealth flows. It is not one of many paths, it is the path. Everything you now see, own, or experience once lived in someone's imagination. The phone in your hand, the chair beneath you, the room you're in, all of it existed first as a vision, a picture in the unseen, before it took form. Wealth is no different. It does not originate in banks, jobs, or markets. It is born in thought, molded by feeling, delivered through sustained belief. And imagination is the tool that shapes it all. You may think money comes through work, effort, hustle, or hard labor, but these are only the outer appearances, the visible effects. The real work, the creative work, happens in the mind. It is the quiet rehearsal of abundance, the vivid inner scenes where you are already living in the wealth you desire. It is not about wishing. It is about experiencing in consciousness that which has not yet appeared in time. That is the secret. Whatever you experience in your imagination with feeling and conviction must eventually express itself in your outer world. The mistake most people make is believing that imagination is fantasy, something disconnected from reality. But the truth is, imagination creates reality. It is the blueprint from which life is built. You cannot live a life of prosperity while imagining poverty. You cannot expect abundance while rehearsing scenarios of struggle in your mind. The outer world is simply a mirror reflecting the inner world, and the inner world is sculpted by imagination. So ask yourself, what do you picture when you think of money? Do you see difficulty, scarcity, and lack? Do you picture unpaid bills, rejected opportunities, or a future of just scraping by? Then do not be surprised when life delivers the same. Not because life is cruel, but because it is obedient. It must give you what you continuously imagine, especially when that imagination is mixed with emotion. To change your financial world, you must first change the images you hold inside. Begin to see yourself already in possession of wealth, not in the future, but now. Feel the weight of money in your hands, hear the sound of ease in your conversations. See yourself living the life that up until now you've only admired from a distance. The key is vividness. Make the scene in your imagination more real than the current facts. The world will try to convince you that imagination is weak, that action is all that matters, but action without vision is motion without purpose. It is running in circles. When you act from a state of fear or lack, even the most intense effort yields little. But when you move from an imagined state of wealth, your steps are guided. Opportunities appear. People are drawn to you. Ideas emerge from nowhere. Why? Because you've aligned yourself with the source of wealth, which is within, not without. The truth is, wealth is not something you acquire. It is something you become. And imagination is the furnace in which that new self is forged. When you imagine, you are not pretending, you are creating. Each time you return to the inner scene of abundance, each time you feel the joy of already having, you are impressing your subconscious with a new pattern. And once impressed, the subconscious will seek expression. It will draw to you the circumstances and people needed to bring that image to life. But you must be consistent. Imagination is a living thing. It must be fed. not once or twice, but daily. Just as a plant needs sunlight and water, your vision needs repetition and faith. If you sow a seed and keep digging it up to check if it's growing, it will never flourish. Likewise, if you imagine wealth but constantly cancel it with doubt, fear, and reality checks, you will never see it appear. Hold to the vision, even when nothing around you seems to support it, especially then. For that is when your faith is being forged. That is when you declare to life, I believe in the power within me more than the evidence before me, and life will respond. It always does. Not on your timeline, but in perfect timing. The outer always bends to the inner, never the other way around. So make imagination your home. Go there often. Build your wealth there first. Feel it, touch it, live it in your mind until it becomes more natural than the struggle you've known. And one day, not suddenly but surely, the world will catch up. The wealth you imagined will become the wealth you possess. Not because you chased it, but because you imagined it and became it. If you've seen the sign, it's already done. Your job is to align, not chase. The moment you receive a sign, a glimpse, or even a whisper of the thing you desire, it is not a future promise. It is a present confirmation. You are not being teased by the universe. You are being shown what already exists for you in the unseen. Your job is not to beg for it, strive for it, or run after it like it's slipping away. Your only task is to align your inner world to the reality that it is already yours. What does it mean to align? It means to accept the end as done, to live in the state of already having, to think from the result, not toward it. When you chase something, you admit without realizing that you do not have it. You confess its absence by your striving, and so it stays away, because life responds not to your effort but to your being. If you are being someone who is still reaching, grasping, hoping, then you will live in that state of almost, of nearly, of not quite. But if you shift into the state of, I have it already, your world will catch up. That sign you saw, that dream that stirred you, that repeating number, that name you keep hearing, that image that lit a fire inside you, it was not random. It was your future calling you back home. It was your higher self reminding you what you've already chosen on a soul level. But here's the catch. Once the vision has been seen, it's about becoming the version of yourself who already lives in that vision. And you are not trying to get rich. You are aligning with the version of you who already is. You are not trying to find love. You are aligning with the version of you who is already in that relationship. You are not trying to succeed. You are aligning with the self that is already successful. This is the sacred difference between chasing and aligning. One implies separation, the other confirms union. Chasing is exhausting. It wears you down. It makes you question, doubt, and shrink. Alignment is peaceful. It centers you. It builds quiet confidence. You begin to walk differently, talk differently, think differently, not because of what you hope will happen, but because of what you've already decided is happening. Your thoughts, words, and actions begin to mirror the outcome, not in desperation, but in certainty. You may ask, how do I align? You start by observing your inner conversation. What do you say to yourself when no one is listening? Do you speak from lack or from abundance? Do you say, I hope it comes, or I know it's mine? Do you feel anxious when you think of your desire, or do you feel grateful? Alignment feels like peace. It feels like a quiet yes echoing within your chest. It is the surrender of doubt and the acceptance of truth. It is already done. Your imagination is your greatest tool. Use it. Enter the scene where you already have what you seek. Don't watch it like a movie. Be in it. Feel the textures, hear the sounds, breathe in the moment, allow it to become more real than your current circumstances. Visit that place often. Dwell in the fulfillment. Make it familiar. Because what is familiar to your inner world will soon become familiar in your outer one. You don't need to chase signs. You don't need to look for more proof. The fact that you saw it once is proof enough. You were given the glimpse so that you could become the one who receives it. Don't ask when or how. Those are questions of the mind. The soul already knows the answer. Now, It is already yours. There's nothing to wait for. There's only the alignment with what is already waiting for you. Alignment is not just belief, it's embodiment. Live today as if it were already true, not to fake it, but to faithfully act from it. Let your energy speak louder than your effort. Let your inner posture do the calling. The one who aligns does not beg, they trust. They move in faith, they act with grace. And because of this, they receive what others only chase. So when you see the sign, smile, don't run after it. Don't analyze it. Receive it. Honor it. And return to yourself, to the version of you who knows the way. Walk in the vibration of already having, and the world will mirror back the only thing it ever responds to, your inner assumption it's already done. Your only job is to match it. Understand this deeply. You are not waiting for wealth, for love, or for success. These things are already yours in the unseen, responding not to your effort but to your state of being. The outer world is simply echoing back your inner assumptions, your imaginal acts, your felt truths. When you saw the sign, the vision, the glimpse, it was not a coincidence. You are the cause, you are the channel. Imagination is your power. Feeling is the secret, and assumption is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Stop chasing, start embodying. Act not from lack, but from the end. Walk as one who knows, not one who waits. And the life you once dreamed of will become the life you wake up in. Thank you for walking this journey within. May you trust your vision, align with your truth, and receive all that is already yours. Have you ever felt as though your world was being turned upside down? As if everything that was once stable is now shifting beyond your control? Do not fear. This is not destruction. This is divine reconstruction. Before great blessings arrive, life often becomes unpredictable. You may face sudden challenges, unexpected endings, and moments of deep uncertainty. But understand this: God never subtracts without the intent to multiply. What feels like rejection is in truth redirection. What appears as loss is simply the pruning before the harvest. One of the first signs that something extraordinary is coming your way is separation. You will notice relationships falling away, old habits losing their appeal, and doors closing without explanation. Do not fight this process. God removes what no longer serves you because He is making space for something greater. Next, resistance will appear. The path may suddenly seem filled with obstacles, delays, and tests that stretch your faith to its limits. But recognize this: resistance is the signal that you are moving in the right direction. The bigger the blessing, the greater the opposition. This is not the time to retreat. It is the time to stand firm in the unseen promise. There is the undeniable inner knowing. You will feel it, a quiet but unwavering certainty deep within you. Even when nothing on the outside affirms it, something inside you will refuse to let go of the vision. That is God's way of whispering, "Hold on, I am about to do something beyond what you imagine." But before the manifestation comes the final test: patience. You will be asked to trust, to believe, and to keep walking even when you cannot yet see the destination. This is where most give up. But those who endure, those who trust despite the silence, will walk into a reality far greater than they ever prayed for. And just when you are ready to surrender, you will begin to see the signs. A sudden opportunity, a chance encounter, a message that seems meant just for you. The unseen world will start aligning in ways beyond your comprehension. So if you are in a season of uncertainty, if you are feeling stretched, tested, or alone, rejoice, something big is on its way. The preparation may be uncomfortable, but the promise is certain. God is not punishing you. He is positioning you. Your breakthrough is not far, it is already written. All you must do now is trust, believe, and step forward into the unseen, for what is coming is beyond anything you have ever imagined. There comes a moment in life when everything you once relied upon begins to shift, as if the very foundation beneath your feet is crumbling. The stability you once knew seems distant, and what was familiar suddenly feels foreign. You may find yourself questioning why things are falling apart, why relationships are dissolving, why opportunities that seem so certain are now slipping through your fingers. It is in these moments of deep uncertainty that many feel abandoned, lost in the chaos of unanswered prayers. But what if this apparent destruction is not an end but a beginning? What if what you perceive as loss is in truth divine preparation for something far greater than you could ever imagine? There is a higher order to all things, a rhythm unseen by the physical eye but deeply felt in the soul. When great change is on the horizon, life must first be rearranged to make room for it. You cannot carry the old into the new. The past must be stripped away so that something greater can take its place. It is not punishment, it is not misfortune, it is simply the divine clearing space for what is meant for you. Consider the ways in which growth happens. A seed, before it becomes a tree, must first break apart beneath the soil. To the untrained eye, it would appear as though the seed is being destroyed, but in reality, it is beginning its transformation. The shell must crack, the roots must push through the dirt, and only after enduring darkness and pressure does it finally break through to the light. Such is the process of elevation. Before you can rise, you must first be broken open. Many resist this breaking, clinging to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves them. They hold on to relationships that drain them, jobs that limit them, environments that keep them stagnant. They pray for change, but fear what it requires. And so, when the shift begins, when people leave, when doors close, when life seems to unravel, they panic. They fight to hold on to what was instead of trusting what is to come. But you cannot step into the next chapter of your life while clinging to the last. The discomfort you feel is not a sign to retreat. It is a call to surrender. Life is removing what no longer aligns with who you are becoming. The friendships that faded, the opportunities that vanished, the plans that fell apart, it was all necessary. If it was meant for you, it would have stayed. If it was removed, it was never truly yours to begin with, or its purpose in your journey has been fulfilled. In the midst of transition, the mind searches for certainty. It wants to understand why things are happening the way they are, why events unfolded as they did, but this process is not meant to be understood from the perspective of the present. It only becomes clear in hindsight. You must trust that what seems like chaos now is actually divine order in disguise. Think of the caterpillar in its cocoon. From the outside, it looks as though it is trapped, undergoing an unseen struggle, but within, a transformation is taking place. The very structure of its being is dissolving, reshaping, preparing for the moment it will emerge as something completely new. If you were to interrupt this process, to force it out before its time, it would never develop the strength needed to fly. So too must you allow your transformation to unfold. At times the breaking will feel unbearable. You will question why things are happening the way they are. You may feel as though you have been abandoned by life itself, as if everything you work for has been taken from you without reason. But in those moments, remind yourself that you are not being destroyed, you are being redefined. You are not losing, you are being positioned for something greater. There is no elevation without disruption. There is no growth without discomfort. Those who rise the highest are often the ones who endured the most profound transformation. The ones who trusted even when they could not see. The ones who released what no longer served them and stepped forward even when the path ahead was unclear. This is not a setback, it is a setup. Life is not punishing you, it is preparing you. The things being stripped away were never meant to be permanent. They were simply the scaffolding, the temporary structures that supported you for a time. Now they must be removed so that you can stand fully in the new reality that awaits you. So let go. Stop fighting to hold on to what is leaving. Stop mourning what is meant to be released. Trust that the space being cleared is making room for something beyond your imagination. What is coming is greater than what was lost. The divine does not take without the intent to give in greater measure. There comes a time in your journey when the world around you begins to shift in ways you cannot control. The people you once held close start to drift away. The doors that once stood open now close without warning. The familiar conversations fade, and the noise that once filled your days is replaced by an unsettling silence. You may wonder why it is happening, why the ones who were once constant in your life are now absent, why the opportunities that seemed promising have vanished, why you feel more alone than ever before. But what if this isolation is not a punishment but a sign? What if this solitude is not an empty void but a sacred space for transformation? God does not elevate you in the crowd. He separates you first. He pulls you away from distractions, from attachments, from the things that keep you bound to the person you once were. You may feel abandoned, as if the very fabric of your life is unraveling, but what is truly happening is a shedding, a necessary release of all that no longer aligns with your destiny. You cannot move forward while clinging to what was. And so, before the next chapter begins, before the breakthrough arrives, you will find yourself in the wilderness of solitude. This solitude is not a curse, it is a calling, a divine invitation to go deeper, to see more clearly, to become who you were always meant to be. When the noise of the world fades, when the opinions of others no longer cloud your mind, you begin to hear what was always there, the quiet yet powerful voice within. In this silence, you will come to know yourself in ways you never have before. You will see your own strength, your own resilience, your own worth. You will begin to shed the layers of identity that were shaped by others, peeling away the expectations, the false attachments, the need for external validation. The isolation may feel unbearable. Humans are wired for connection, and to suddenly find yourself alone can feel unnatural. You may feel tempted to run back to familiar places, to rekindle old relationships, to seek comfort in the very things that life has been pulling you away from. But you must resist this urge. The separation is happening for a reason. The doors that close were never meant to remain open. The people who left were never meant to stay. If they were part of your destiny, they would still be here. Let them go. Understand that not everyone is meant to walk with you into the next season of your life. Some relationships were only meant to serve a purpose for a time. Some connections were only meant to teach you lessons, not to last forever. Growth requires distance. Elevation requires separation. If you are being pulled into solitude, it is because God is preparing to reveal something to you that cannot be understood in the presence of distractions. The most profound moments of transformation happen in the quiet. It is in this stillness that you will begin to see the bigger picture, to recognize the patterns, to understand why things had to unfold the way they did. The answers you have been seeking will come, not through others, but through the deep knowing within you. This is the season where you will discover the power that has always been inside you, the strength that was buried beneath the noise, the wisdom that was drowned out by the world. Solitude is where your spirit is refined. It is where your faith is tested. It is where you are stripped of all illusions and left with nothing but the truth. And the truth is this: you were never alone. Even in your most isolated moments, even when it felt like no one understood, even when the silence felt unbearable, God was there, watching, guiding, preparing. This separation is not the end. It is the beginning. When the time is right, new doors will open, but this time they will not be doors of illusion or distraction. They will be doors aligned with your highest path. The people who enter your life next will not drain your energy, but uplift you. The opportunities that come will not require you to shrink yourself, but to rise into your fullest expression. Everything that is truly meant for you will find you. once you have been prepared to receive it. So embrace the solitude, let it do its work. Allow it to shape you, to strengthen you, to clear the path ahead. The loneliness you feel now is temporary, but the transformation it brings will last forever. You are not being abandoned, you are being elevated. And when you emerge from this season, you will not be the same. You will be clearer, stronger, and more aligned than ever before. This is not a loss, this is preparation for something far greater than you could ever imagine. There will come a moment on your journey when nothing seems to go as planned. The path that once seemed clear suddenly becomes clouded with obstacles. The things that once flowed effortlessly now feel blocked at every turn. You put in the effort, yet nothing moves. You pray, yet the answer seems delayed. You move forward, but resistance meets you at every step. It feels as if everything is working against you. You question whether you should continue or turn back. But what if this opposition is not a sign to stop, but an indication that you are on the verge of something greater? Resistance always comes before revelation. The struggles you are facing are not random. They are not punishment, they are preparation. Every delay, every obstacle, every moment of frustration is shaping you, refining you, strengthening you for what lies ahead. If you were not meant for something greater, there would be no resistance. The fact that you are facing so much opposition is proof that something powerful is unfolding. Think of a seed buried beneath the soil. Before it can break through the surface, it must push through the dirt, the darkness, the weight pressing down on it. The pressure is not meant to destroy it, but to strengthen it for its emergence. And just like that seed, you too are being prepared. The obstacles in your way are not barriers, they are stepping stones. The delays are not denials, they are divine timing at work. In these moments, the mind plays tricks. Doubt creeps in. You begin to wonder if you are doing something wrong, if you have misread the signs, if you should give up altogether. This is where many people turn back. They mistake the resistance for a message to quit. But those who understand the nature of growth know that struggle is part of the process. Every great breakthrough is preceded by opposition. Every transformation requires discomfort. You cannot rise to a new level without first facing the forces that seek to keep you bound to the old one. The opposition you face is not there to stop you, it is there to test you. Do you truly believe in your vision? Will you stand firm when things don't go as expected? Will you keep moving forward when every excuse to quit presents itself? These challenges are refining your character. They are stripping away weakness, self-doubt, and fear. They are forcing you to develop resilience, faith, and patience. Delays can feel frustrating, but they are often the greatest blessings in disguise. What looks like stagnation is actually divine alignment. If something is being delayed, it is because the timing is not yet right. If you were to receive your breakthrough before you were fully prepared, you might mishandle it. There are lessons you must learn, perspectives you must gain, strength you must build before you step into the next level. The delay is not a rejection, it is a divine recalibration. Consider the caterpillar that must endure the darkness of the cocoon before it can emerge as a butterfly. The struggle it faces as it pushes through the cocoon is not a mistake. It is necessary. If someone were to cut the cocoon open prematurely, the butterfly would never develop the strength to fly. The same is true for you. The process may feel slow, the pressure may feel overwhelming, but every challenge is preparing you for the strength you will need to sustain the blessing that is coming. Opposition also serves another purpose. It reveals what is within you. It exposes the parts of you that still operate from fear, that still rely on external validation, that still question whether you are truly capable. And in that exposure, you are given the chance to grow, to release old doubts, to build new confidence, to strengthen your faith, to become someone who no longer reacts to delays with frustration, but with trust. Someone who no longer sees obstacles as roadblocks, but as confirmation that something greater is coming. So when you encounter resistance, do not retreat. Do not shrink back in fear. Do not allow delays to make you doubt. Instead, lean into the process. Trust that every obstacle is shaping you. Trust that the delays are aligning you. Trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by. Keep going. Keep believing. Keep moving forward. The resistance you are facing now is the final test before the breakthrough. The pressure you feel is not a sign that you are failing. It is proof that you are on the verge of transformation. You are being refined, prepared, strengthened for something bigger than you can imagine. And when the moment comes, when the doors finally open, when the delays give way to destiny, you will understand why every obstacle was necessary. You will see that nothing was wasted. You will recognize that the resistance was never meant to break you, but to build you into the person who is ready to receive everything that has been waiting for you. There comes a time when everything around you seems uncertain. The world may look unstable, your plans may seem to fall apart, and nothing appears to be going as expected. Yet deep within you there is a quiet voice, a knowing that refuses to fade. It is not loud or demanding, but it is steady, unwavering, and undeniable. No matter how many obstacles arise, this inner conviction remains. This is not wishful thinking, nor is it blind optimism. This is something deeper, something sacred. It is God whispering to you, reminding you that your breakthrough is near. When you are on the verge of something great, external circumstances will often suggest otherwise. You may experience setbacks, delays, and even moments of despair. People may doubt you, opportunities may seem scarce, and the road ahead may feel impossible to navigate. But through it all, there is an unshakable knowing within you that keeps pulling you forward. It is as if your soul already knows what is coming, even if your mind struggles to see it. This inner knowing is not something you create. It is something you receive. It is a divine confirmation, an assurance that cannot be logically explained, but can always be felt. It speaks to you in moments of stillness. It strengthens you when fear tries to take over. It reminds you that no matter how things appear, some things shifting in your favor, the breakthrough is already set in motion. And all you have to do is trust. Trusting in this knowing is not always easy. The logical mind demands evidence. It wants proof before belief. It looks at what is happening on the outside and insists that nothing is changing. But faith operates differently. Faith is the ability to stand firm even when there is no visible proof. Faith listens to the whisper of certainty rather than the noise of doubt. Faith does not wait for the manifestation to believe. It believes first, knowing that the manifestation must follow. There is a reason why you feel this inner certainty, despite everything around you seeming chaotic. It is because what is coming is already yours. You are not chasing it, you are aligning with it. You are not wishing for it, you are stepping into it. The unshakable knowing within you is evidence that what you seek is already making its way to you. Consider a mother in the final weeks of pregnancy. She may not see the child yet, but she knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is there. The waiting does not make her question whether the child exists. The discomfort does not make her doubt whether birth will happen. She carries the certainty within her, even when she cannot yet hold what she knows is coming. In the same way, you are carrying the promise of what is to come. The discomfort, the waiting, and even the uncertainty are all part of the process. But the knowing within you, that is the ultimate sign that you are on the brink of something extraordinary. This is why when you feel that inner conviction, you must hold on to it. Do not allow external circumstances to shake your belief. Do not let temporary obstacles make you question the inevitable. The very fact that you feel this deep certainty means that God has already set things in motion. It is something that is unfolding in divine timing, but patience is required. Those who give up too soon never get to witness the full manifestation of their faith. The moment just before a breakthrough often feels the most challenging. The pressure increases, the obstacles seem greater, and the waiting feels unbearable. But this is not a sign to quit. It is a sign that you are closer than ever. The resistance before a breakthrough is always the greatest because transformation requires endurance. Many people dismiss their inner knowing because they expect the journey to be easy. They believe that if something is truly meant for them, it should arrive without struggle. But nothing great is birthed without a process. A diamond is not formed without pressure. A butterfly does not emerge without the struggle of breaking free from the cocoon. And in the same way, your breakthrough requires that you hold firm, even when everything around you tries to convince you otherwise. The key is to cultivate trust. When doubt whispers, remind yourself of the certainty that has been placed within you. When circumstances seem to contradict what you believe, remember that reality is always shifting. What you see now is not the final chapter. Keep moving forward, keep believing, and do not waver in your conviction. You will look back and realize that the knowing you had was never wrong. You will see that every delay had a purpose, that every obstacle strengthened you, and that every moment of uncertainty was simply a test of your faith. You will step into what you always knew was yours, and when you do, you will understand why God placed that unshakable knowing within you from the very beginning. There is a moment in every journey when the waiting becomes difficult, when doubt creeps in, and when you wonder if what you desire will ever come to pass. It is in this moment that faith is truly tested. Before receiving something big, you must first prove that you can trust without seeing, that you can believe even when there is no visible evidence. This is not a punishment. It is preparation. It is the divine testing of patience and faith. God stretches your faith before He delivers His promise, not to make you suffer, but to make you ready. Faith is not needed when everything is going well. It is not tested in moments of ease or certainty. Faith is proven in the unseen, in the silence, in the waiting. It is in these moments when nothing seems to be happening that God is watching closely. Will you trust Him even when you don't see the results yet? Will you hold on to His promise even when there is no proof? This is where true faith is formed, not in receiving, but in believing before the manifestation arrives. Most people struggle with this process because they want immediate results. They want to see movement, signs, or confirmation before they fully commit to believing. But faith does not work that way. Faith asks you to believe first, to trust before you see, to walk forward even when the path is unclear. It requires surrendering control, releasing the need for instant gratification, and allowing divine timing to unfold. There is a reason why the greatest blessings do not come instantly. If everything arrived the moment we asked for it, there would be no growth, no transformation, and no deepening of trust. The waiting is not a delay, it is a divine process. It is in the waiting that character is built, endurance is strengthened, and faith is refined. Every great blessing requires preparation, and that preparation often comes in the form of patience. Think of a seed planted in the ground. The moment it is placed beneath the soil, it begins its journey of transformation. But in the beginning, nothing is visible. There is no sign of growth, no proof that anything is happening. Yet beneath the surface, roots are forming, stretching deep into the earth, preparing to sustain what will soon break through. If someone were to dig up the seed too soon, they would assume it was lifeless. But in reality, it was growing all along. The same is true for your desires, your prayers, your dreams. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean it is not happening. This is where faith is required. Faith asks you to trust the unseen, to believe in the process, and to remain steadfast even when nothing appears to be changing. The greatest rewards go to those who do not give up, who do not allow the silence to shake their confidence, and who continue to walk forward even when there is no visible sign of movement. Patience is not just about waiting, it is about how you wait. Anyone can wait, but very few can wait with unwavering trust. Many become frustrated, discouraged, or doubtful when things do not happen on their timeline. But those who truly understand the divine process remain at peace. They know that every delay is divine alignment, that every moment of waiting is a step closer to fulfillment. They do not allow impatience to lead them to settle for less. They do not try to force things before their time. Instead, they trust, they prepare, and they remain faithful. The reason God stretches your faith before delivering His promise is because what He has for you is greater than what you have imagined. But with greater blessings come greater responsibilities. If your faith is not strong enough to endure the waiting, how will it be strong enough to handle what is coming? If you cannot trust Him in the unseen, how will you trust Him when challenges arise, even after you receive the blessing? Faith is a muscle, and like any muscle, it must be stretched to grow. Every moment of waiting is an opportunity to strengthen that faith, to deepen your trust, and to align yourself with the higher purpose behind your desire. The process is not about testing whether you are worthy. It is about preparing you to fully receive and sustain what is meant for you. Many people give up right before their breakthrough. They grow tired of waiting and assume that if something has not happened yet, it never will. But they fail to realize that the moment when faith feels hardest to hold on to is often the moment right before everything shifts. The greatest blessings require endurance. So, if you find yourself in a season of waiting, do not be discouraged. Do not mistake silence for absence. Do not allow impatience to shake your trust. Instead, lean into faith more deeply. Remind yourself that what is meant for you cannot be taken away, that divine timing is always perfect, and that every moment of waiting is a step toward the fulfillment of the promise. When the breakthrough finally arrives, you will see why the waiting was necessary. You will understand that every delay was actually positioning you for something greater. You will look back and realize that the faith you built during the process was just as valuable as the blessing itself. And in that moment, you will know without a doubt that God was always working, even when you could not see it. There are moments in life when things seem to align in ways that defy logic, when signs appear so clearly that they cannot be ignored. These moments are not coincidences. They are divine synchronicities guiding you towards something greater. When God is about to give you something big, the unseen world begins to communicate with you in unexpected ways. Messages will appear in dreams, through conversations, and even in the words of strangers. Every detail is orchestrated in your favor, moving you closer to your breakthrough. These signs may come in subtle ways at first: a song on the radio that speaks directly to your situation, a random phrase in a book that answers a question you've been asking, or a stranger who unknowingly delivers a message that resonates deeply. At first, these moments might seem like mere coincidences, but as they continue to appear, you begin to realize they are part of something much bigger. The unseen world is aligning everything, whispering to you that your desires are being fulfilled. One of the most common ways these messages arrive is through dreams. In the stillness of the night, when the conscious mind is at rest, divine guidance flows freely. Some dreams come as direct visions, revealing what is to come. Others are more symbolic, requiring you to pay attention to emotions, imagery, and themes. When a dream repeats itself or evokes a deep sense of knowing, it is often a message preparing you for what lies ahead. These dreams are not random. They are glimpses of the unseen forces at work, shifting things in your favor. Beyond dreams, synchronicities will appear in your waking life. You may think of someone and then unexpectedly hear from them. You may be contemplating a major decision when a sign suddenly confirms what your intuition already knew. Repeating numbers, familiar symbols, or meaningful patterns begin to emerge, reminding you that you are on the right path. The world around you begins to reflect your inner state, proving that everything is connected in ways beyond human understanding. These divine signs often come when doubt tries to creep in. Just when you begin to question whether your desires will manifest, an unexpected confirmation appears. A conversation with a stranger might provide the exact reassurance you need. A random event might push you in the direction you were hesitant to take. This is how the unseen world works, moving through people, places, and circumstances to lead you where you are meant to go. These synchronicities serve as a call to take action. When an opportunity arises that aligns with what you have been praying for, it is not a mistake. When the right people show up in your life at the perfect time, it is not by accident. The universe is responding to your faith, arranging everything according to divine timing. Your only task is to recognize these moments and trust them. Many people dismiss these signs, believing them to be coincidences, but nothing in this world happens without purpose. The more you pay attention, the more you realize that life is always communicating with you. The people you meet, the situations you encounter, and the unexpected messages that come your way are all part of the divine orchestration. Every detail is intentional, guiding you towards something far greater than you can see. Sometimes the messages come in ways that challenge you. A door closing, a sudden change in plans, or a delay that forces you to wait. All of these are signs too. Not all synchronicities are about moving forward immediately. Some are about pausing, redirecting, or preparing. If something you desire does not come as expected, it is not a realignment. What is meant for you will always find its way, and the signs will continue to appear until you fully trust the process. The most powerful synchronicities are the ones that stir something deep within you. It may be an unexplainable feeling of knowing, a moment of overwhelming peace, or a sudden realization that everything is happening exactly as it should. This is the unseen world affirming that you are not alone, that your prayers have been heard, and that your breakthrough is unfolding. When you start seeing these unexpected signs and synchronicities, do not ignore them. Pay attention, write them down, reflect on them, trust them. The more you acknowledge them, the more they will appear. The more you trust, the clearer the path becomes. You are being guided, supported, and aligned with something far greater than you can imagine. When God is about to give you something big, the signs will be undeniable. You will hear messages in unexpected places, see patterns too precise to be random, and feel an inner knowing that cannot be shaken. This is the unseen world at work, aligning everything in your favor. Stay open, stay aware, and most importantly, stay in faith. What is coming is already yours. When God is about to give you something big, He prepares you in ways that may not always make sense at first. Your life may feel disrupted, but it is only being rearranged for something greater. You may experience isolation, but this solitude is where clarity and strength are born. Unusual opposition and delays may arise, but they are not roadblocks. They are signs that you are stepping into something beyond what you can currently see. Amidst all of this, an unshakable inner knowing will persist, reminding you that your breakthrough is near. Your faith will be tested, but this testing is not to break you. It is to strengthen your trust in what you cannot yet see. And when the time is right, unexpected signs and synchronicities will begin to appear, confirming that everything is aligning in your favor. Through it all, remember that nothing is happening by chance. Every delay, every test, and every sign is a part of a divine plan leading you to something greater than you can imagine. Trust the process. Hold on to faith even when the path is unclear. What is meant for you is already unfolding, and when the moment arrives, you will realize that every challenge was simply preparation for the blessing ahead. Thank you for listening. Stay strong, stay faithful, and be ready. Your time is coming.